Hello everyone, my name is Kat Espina, and today we're gonna look at the short film Ideas. And this is a short film about a paper ball who was thrown to the ground by an artist who is struggling to come up with an idea. The ball wishes that he could be the idea that the artist would use, but soon realizes that he probably won't. The reason why I chose this film was because it was an interesting take on that you shouldn't give up on ideas so easily, as there is potential within each one. As a person who has tried many times to create a project of my own, be it a video game or a comic, I have made many ideas and I have scrapped many more. Some background information about the producers is that it was produced by the YouTube channel GC5 Productions, and the main developer of these films named is Juan. He is a legally blind filmmaker, and his channel houses all types of short films, documentaries, and sketches. Even through his disability, he is still very passionate about making films, and he wants to send a message with these films to not let something slow you from doing what you are passionate about. From what I could find, this film was made by him himself, and he wanted to show us that ideas are not something that should be thrown away easily, and that there's still creativity every time you make an idea. Now let's address the strengths and weaknesses within this film. Narrative-wise, I'd say that this film follows a pretty interesting narrative. The story goes that an artist is having trouble coming up with ideas and throws away a paper ball, who becomes our main focus. The paper ball is confused as to why he is here, not being chosen by the artist. Another paper ball on the floor explains to him that they're abandoned and ideas that the artist didn't want to choose, and gives us a grim view that once they end up on the floor, that they will never become an idea. The trash is a place where they go in the very end. And speak of the devil, the artist leaves the room and comes back with a trash can in hand, and begins throwing away the papers one by one, and this leaves with our paper ball almost being thrown away. The other paper ball that our main character was talking to ends up in the trash. But as soon as the artist reaches for our main paper ball, something catches his eye, and it was the red markings on it, which led him to open up the paper and reading the content, and he was inspired by it and just gave it a second shot and using him. In the end, it's a good story overall, although very simple. It was made even more interesting that our characters was sentient paper balls. The plot was good and was established well with the conversation between the balls, and the setting was made even more interesting, as the world that we are seeing is basically just massive due to us looking through the perspective of the paper balls. There was even good tension parts within the film, such as like when the paper balls were almost being thrown away. It just gave off a lot of suspense. Narrative wise, it got the job done. Taking a look at the cinematography now, I would say that within this film, I'd say it's pretty interesting because it's all about filming these paper balls and trying to make it interesting. Throughout the film, the shots are mostly made up of close-up shots, from the man writing things to like the paper balls talking, and then when the paper balls are being picked up and thrown in the trash by the man himself. There are many techniques used in these shots that make filming the paper balls pretty interesting. For example, one shot where we have the artist crumpling up our protagonist and then throwing him to the ground, And throughout this, we are given a shot where we have a first-person view of the ball as it is tumbling down. There was also great uses of angles too, such as when there was an over-the-shoulder shot to make it look like the paper balls were looking at each other and also talking. I'd say the only setbacks for the cinematography was that some of the shots had a shaky focus and it was very noticeable at some spots. Okay, so let's take a look at the editing now. The way that the film was edited had a really good rhythm and sequencing of movements. There are many shots within the film that are sequenced well, and one in particular that I want to talk about was when the paper was first crumpled. The way it was captured, the motion itself was done very well because of how the shot was sequenced. We first see the man writing on the paper and then tearing it apart, crumpling up and prepares to throw. We then see the throwing action in a different shot, and then in the next shot we see the ball itself tumbling to the ground. And then we finally end it with the impact of the ball. Although they are all different shots, we can understand it because of how it was sequenced. Other than that, there aren't any other big editing techniques that was used within the film, as the flow of the whole film was relying on the talk between the paper balls and just that story. Overall, this film has inspired me a little to try and be more thoughtful about my ideas, and also be more thoughtful about throwing away paper due to them being apparently sentient. But in all seriousness, because of the many times I have thrown away good ideas in the past, I felt like I kinda missed out on something. And this film kinda sparked my interest as well for saving my ideas from now on. After watching this film, it made me feel happy as it sent out a good message to media creators. And also because even though it looked bleak for our paper ball protagonist, we got a happy ending in the end.